Welcome to this deep dive. And today we're going to be looking into something fascinating from ancient Greece.
Oh, yeah.
It's Xenia.
Ah,
And you've given us an academic paper and even a poem, which is pretty cool. So we can really go beyond just like basic hospitality here
yeah.
and uncover why Xenia was so vital in a world that was so different from our own.
What's captivating about Xenia is it wasn't simply about, like, politeness or good manners. It was really deeply intertwined with how ancient Greek society was actually structured.
Okay, so set the stage for us. Like, what was it about ancient Greece that made Xenia so much more than just like offering someone a cup of wine when they came to your house?
Well, you got to imagine a world where citizenship was very limited
Yeah.
and travel was fraught with peril.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you could encounter bandits and pirates,
Ooh.
maybe even a cyclops or two.
Oh, my gosh.
And instead of having like a unified nation, you have all these independent city-states, and they're often like vying for power.
Right.
So it's not really...
So like venturing outside your city was a risk in itself.
It's exactly trust. Scarce outsiders were viewed with a lot of suspicion.
Right.
This is where Xenia steps in. It's almost like a social contract that
Interesting.
ensures safe passage, and it fosters cooperation between these different city-states.
So it's almost like Xenia was like a passport or a visa.
Oh, yeah.
Helping you navigate this really complex and kind of dangerous world.
Precisely. And it even goes beyond just like individual safety.
Okay.
You can imagine this network of guest friends
Okay.
spanning across all these different cities,
Yeah.
facilitating trade, sharing knowledge, and even forming alliances.
So Xenia wasn't just these individual acts of kindness.
Right.
It really had ripple effects across entire communities.
Exactly. And to really underscore its significance,
Yeah.
the Greeks believed that Zeus himself, like the king of the gods,
Yeah.
he was the one watching over Xenia, and he earns the title Zeus Xenios.
Oh, wow.
So it's not just good manners, it's like a divine mandate.
Right. So not just good manners, but like the big guy upstairs is watching you.
Yeah.
But how did this actually work in practice?
Did they have like a Xenia handbook or something?
Well, you might say that Homer's Odyssey gives us a really detailed look at how Xenia actually played out in real life, and it's surprisingly structured.
Okay.
There's like a method to this.
All right, so walk me through it. What were the steps in this ancient Greek ritual of hospitality?
So picture this. A stranger arrives at your doorstep.
Okay.
Right. First, you would welcome them in, disarm them safety first,
Sure.
then offer them a bath, or at least like washing facilities.
Okay.
And then you give them the best seat at the table.
Okay. So far, so good. Treat your guest well.
Right, but there's more to it.
All right, there's got to be more to it.
There is. This is where it gets really interesting. Only after you have fed and entertained your guest would you actually ask, who are you, where are you from, and what brings you here?
So it's all about building trust first,
Yes,
taking care of their needs before you demand anything of them.
precisely. And that's what really sets Xenia apart from just basic hospitality.
It's about establishing this bond of obligation and generosity.
Oh, obligation. So it wasn't all sunshine and roses, I take it.
Well, there were definitely expectations on both sides.
Okay.
So after this initial hospitality, the host would then offer the guest a place to sleep, and then there'd be this exchange of gifts,
Oh,
which is essentially like solidifying the relationship.
a little token of appreciation.
Yeah, and there was this unspoken promise of future reciprocity.
So almost like a social contract.
Exactly.
Like you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, maybe even generations down the line.
Exactly. This bond of Xenia could actually extend across like families and lifetimes,
Wow.
influencing everything from like trade partnerships to political alliances.
That's fascinating. We often think of hospitality as this like one-time thing,
Right.
but in ancient Greece, it seems like it had much longer lasting implications.
Absolutely. And to really grasp the power of Xenia, let's dive into some examples from the Odyssey,
Okay.
where we see both the rewards of honoring this bond, but also like the perils of breaking it.
So we're going to meet the characters who really brought Xenia to life,
Exactly.
for better or worse.
Yes.
Where do we begin?
Well, a perfect example of Xenia in action is Telemachus,
Right.
who is Odysseus' son, and he welcomes Athena, who's disguised as a traveler,
Oh,
with
yeah.
the utmost respect and care, even though his own home is like in turmoil.
So he's dealing with his own problems. His dad's been missing for years, and he still goes above and beyond for a complete stranger.
He does.
Wow.
And this act of Xenia, even in his most vulnerable state, actually sets off this chain of events that leads to his reunion with Odysseus.
Wow, talk about good karma.
Right.
So following the rules of Xenia actually paid off for Telemachus in a big way.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling not everyone was as virtuous.
Oh, you are so right.
Okay.
The Odyssey also offers a cautionary tale,
All right.
a stark contrast to Telemachus' hospitality.
Spill the beans who messed up big time when it came to Xenia.
Nor Polyphemus the Cyclops.
Ah, the Cyclops.
Yeah.
Not exactly known for his manners.
He throws the Xenia handbook right out the window.
Oh my God.
He demands to know Odysseus' identity before offering him even a sip of water.
Wow.
And then, well, let's just say he doesn't exactly treat his guests with kindness.
Oh, no. So Polyphemus is the ultimate Xenia fail, right?
Right.
Are there any stories that show, like, the opposite? Like,
No.
what happens when you really nail this Xenia thing?
Oh, there is, and it provides a really stark contrast to the horror of Polyphemus.
Oh, wait, I'm intrigued.
Think of Baucis and Philemon, an elderly couple, and they welcome Zeus and Hermes, who are disguised as travelers, into their humble home, while their wealthy neighbors turn them away.
So the classic don't judge a book by its cover situation. I bet those neighbors regretted that decision.
Big time. The gods reward Baucis and Philemon for their generosity, while the inhospitable town faces their wrath.
Oh.
It highlights the belief that any stranger could be a god in disguise.
Ah, that's a good point. It's like that saying, be kind for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. You never know who you're truly welcoming into your home.
Exactly, and that sense of the divine, that potential for the sacred in every encounter, it really permeates the whole concept of Xenia.
This is fascinating. We've really explored the structure of Xenia, the rewards and the punishments associated with it, and met characters who embody it and those who really violate it.
Right.
What else is there to uncover about this ancient concept?
Well, as we delve deeper into Xenia, it really challenges our modern perceptions of hospitality.
So we often think of it as like a choice, something we offer freely.
That's true, but Xenia suggests not just a personal choice, but also a social and a moral obligation.
Oh, wow.
Something that we owe each other regardless of our own, personal feelings.
That's an interesting perspective. It's like Xenia elevates hospitality to like a whole other level, almost like a social contract.
Yeah.
That binds communities together.
Exactly, and this sense of obligation, it's embedded in the language itself.
Really?
The Greek word xenos can mean both guest and stranger.
Oh.
So it highlights this inherent uncertainty of the encounter.
Oh, that's interesting. Right.
So you're welcoming someone into your home, offering them your best, without really knowing their intentions or what they might bring into your life.
Precisely, there's this element of risk, this leap of faith.
Oh, yeah.
That distinguishes Xenia from just mere politeness.
Okay.
It's about embracing the unknown and opening yourself up to the possibility of transformation.
It makes you think about all those times that you maybe hesitate to help a stranger.
Right.
Because you're worried about the potential downsides.
Yes. Xenia encourages us to challenge those fears, to remember that even in uncertainty, generosity can lead to unexpected rewards.
It reminds me of Odysseus. He experiences the full spectrum of Xenia in his journey.
Yes.
The good, the bad, and the truly ugly.
He does.
His encounter with the Phaeacians after being shipwrecked and washed ashore is a great example.
Yeah.
Nausicaa the princess shows him incredible kindness, offering him food, clothing, and safe passage.
And this act of Xenia has this ripple effect.
Right.
Her father, King Alcinous, welcomes Odysseus with open arms, offers him a feast and a place to rest. And eventually, they even provide him with a ship to finally return home.
Yes.
Odysseus's experience really highlights how Xenia can create this chain of generosity,
Exactly.
extending outwards from one individual to an entire community.
Exactly.
It's inspiring.
It is.
But Odysseus also encounters that dark side of Xenia with Polyphemus.
Right. Polyphemus's actions are a stark reminder that not everyone adheres to these principles.
Right.
And his brutality forces us to consider the limits of Xenia and the importance of discernment.
That's a good point. It's not about blindly welcoming everyone into our lives,
Right.
but finding that balance between generosity and self-preservation.
Precisely. The Odyssey teaches us that Xenia is not without its challenges.
Right.
We have to be wise in our judgment, assessing each situation and individual carefully.
So while the ideal is beautiful, there's a realism to Xenia that acknowledges that, human nature is complex.
Exactly. It's about navigating those complexities with wisdom and compassion.
It makes me wonder about the relevance of Xenia in our world today. We face so many challenges: global conflict, mass displacement, political polarization.
Yeah.
Is there really space for this ancient concept in such a fragmented world?
That's a really crucial question.
Yeah.
While the world has changed drastically since ancient Greece, the fundamental principles of Xenia, they remain surprisingly relevant.
Yeah, I can see how the need for trust and reciprocity is even more important in our interconnected yet often divided world.
Absolutely.
Think about the global refugee crisis.
Yeah.
Millions of people are displaced, seeking refuge in foreign lands.
Yeah.
How we respond to this crisis, whether with open arms or closed borders, really reflects our own commitment to the spirit of Xenia.
It's a powerful point.
Yeah.
It challenges us to consider how we embody Xenia on a larger scale,
Right.
advocating for policies that welcome those in need and foster understanding across cultures.
And it's not just about these grand gestures.
Right.
Xenia can manifest in our daily interactions as well.
Absolutely.
Offering a helping hand to a neighbor.
Yes.
Being patient with a frustrated stranger.
Yeah.
Or just simply listening with an open heart.
Yeah.
These are all expressions of Xenia.
It's a reminder that we can cultivate the spirit of Xenia in our everyday lives, creating these ripples of compassion that extend outwards into our communities and beyond.
Exactly. It's about shifting our mindset from fear and suspicion to one of openness and generosity. This has been a really illuminating exploration of Xenia. We've uncovered the historical context, its practical applications, and its potential to shape a better world.
And as we move forward, it's crucial to remember that Xenia is more than just a concept. It's a call to action.
A call to embrace generosity, to extend kindness to strangers, and build bridges of understanding across those differences.
Precisely, and that call resonates as powerfully today as it did in ancient Greece.
Yeah.
It really makes you think about those times when you maybe hesitate to help a stranger.
Yeah.
Worried about what could happen, what are the downsides.
Right.
And Xenia really encourages us to kind of challenge those fears. To remember that even in the face of uncertainty, generosity can lead to unexpected rewards.
And that actually reminds me of Odysseus. He experiences the full spectrum of Xenia on his journey.
Yeah.
The good, the bad, and the really ugly.
He does.
His encounter with the Phaeacians after being shipwrecked and washed ashore is a great example.
Yeah.
Nausicaa, the princess, shows him just incredible kindness,
Yeah.
offering him food, clothing, and safe passage.
And this act of Xenia has this ripple effect.
Right.
Her father, King Alcinous, welcomes Odysseus with open arms,
Oh, wow.
offers him a feast, a place to rest.
And eventually they even provide him with a ship to finally return home.
Yes.
So Odysseus's experience really highlights how Xenia can create this chain of generosity,
Exactly.
extending outwards from one individual to an entire community.
Exactly.
It's inspiring.
It is.
But as you mentioned, Odysseus also encounters the dark side of Xenia with Polyphemus.
Right. Polyphemus's actions are a stark reminder that not everyone follows these principles.
Right.
And his brutality really forces us to consider, where are the limits of Xenia and the importance of discernment.
Yeah, that's such a good point. It's not about blindly welcoming everyone into our lives,
Right.
but it's about finding a balance between generosity and self-preservation.
Precisely. The Odyssey really teaches us that Xenia is not without its challenges.
Right.
We have to
Yeah.
be wise in our judgment, assessing each situation and individual carefully.
So while the ideal is beautiful,
Yeah.
there's a realism to Xenia that acknowledges that human nature is complex.
Exactly. It's about navigating those complexities with wisdom and compassion.
It makes me wonder about the relevance of Xenia in our world today. We face so many challenges: global conflicts, mass displacement, political polarization.
Yeah.
Is there space for this ancient concept in such a fragmented world?
That is the question.
Yeah.
While the world has changed drastically since ancient Greece,
Right.
the fundamental principles of Xenia, they remain surprisingly relevant.
Yeah, I can see how the need for trust and reciprocity is even more pronounced in our interconnected yet often divided world.
Absolutely.
Think about the global refugee crisis.
Yeah.
Millions of people are displaced, seeking refuge in foreign lands.
Yeah.
How we respond to this crisis, whether with open arms or closed borders, really reflects our own commitment to the spirit of Xenia.
That's a really powerful point.
Yeah.
It challenges us to consider how we can embody Xenia on a larger scale,
Right.
advocating for policies that welcome those in need and foster understanding across cultures.
And it's not just about these grand gestures.
Right.
Xenia can manifest in our daily interactions as well.
Absolutely.
Offering a helping hand to a neighbor,
Yes.
being patient with a frustrated stranger, or even just listening with an open heart.
Yeah.
These are all expressions of Xenia.
It's a reminder that we can cultivate the spirit of Xenia in our everyday lives, creating these ripples of compassion that extend outwards into our communities and beyond.
Exactly. It's about shifting our mindset from fear and suspicion to one of openness and generosity. This has been such an illuminating exploration of Xenia. We've uncovered the historical context, its practical applications, and its potential to shape a better world.
And as we move forward, it's crucial to remember that Xenia is more than just a concept. It's a call to action.
A call to embrace generosity, to extend kindness to strangers, and to build bridges of understanding across those differences.
Precisely. And that call resonates as powerfully today as it did in ancient Greece.
As we've been talking about Xenia, I keep thinking about how its relevance goes beyond just welcoming strangers. Like these principles at the heart of it, this generosity, this respect, reciprocity,
Yeah.
it can be applied to so many different relationships and situations.
Absolutely.
So it's not just about how we treat strangers, but how we approach all our interactions with
Right.
our family, our friends, our colleagues,
Yeah.
even those we might disagree with.
Exactly. Imagine applying that same open-heartedness and generosity
Yeah.
to those that you're closest to.
It's like this ripple effect,
Yeah.
starting with those we know best and extending outwards.
Precisely.
It could be lending a listening ear to a friend who's struggling or helping a colleague with a project,
Yeah.
or offering forgiveness to someone who's wronged you.
It's about recognizing that inherent dignity and worth in everyone we encounter,
Right.
regardless of our personal history with them.
And those small acts of kindness, inspired by the spirit of Xenia, can have a really profound impact,
Yeah.
creating a more positive and compassionate world around us.
They really can.
This reminds me of that quote from the Rune of Hospitality you shared.
Hmm.
It says, "I saw a stranger yestreen. I put food in the eating place, drink in the drinking place, music in the listening place. And in the name of the triune, he blessed myself and my house, my cattle, and my dear ones. And the lark said in her song, often, 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 often goes the Christ in the stranger's guise. Often, often, often goes the Christ in the stranger's guise."
This is such a powerful reminder.
It is.
It really encapsulates that essence of Xenia,
Yeah.
that potential for something sacred, something transformative in every encounter.
It challenges us to see beyond the surface,
Right.
to approach each interaction with an open heart and recognize that spark of the divine in others.
And it expands our understanding of hospitality beyond just physical needs.
Yeah.
It's about offering generosity and kindness in all their forms.
It makes you realize that Xenia isn't just a set of actions, but like a way of being in the world.
A way of being that's rooted in compassion, respect, and a deep appreciation for that interconnectedness of all things.
Well, this deep dive has been quite a journey.
It has.
From the ancient rituals of Xenia to its surprising relevance in our modern world.
We've explored its history, its challenges, and its power to transform individuals and whole communities.
But the most important part of this journey is what happens next.
Right. What resonated with you most about Xenia? How do you see it manifesting in your own life and in the world around you?
And most importantly, how can you embody these principles in your interactions with others?
These are questions worth pondering.
Take some time to reflect on them.
Yeah.
Share your thoughts, start conversations, and let's continue to explore this transformative power of Xenia together.
I love that.
Until next time, may you carry the spirit of Xenia with you, and may you spread its light wherever you go.